What's going on, everyone? It's Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran. Today I want to have a quick video on how to expand on your current contract. So let's get into it. So let's say you are one of the lucky souls who has been awarded a contract and it's ongoing. It's going on right now. You in it. You probably working it right now, right? Even for those who are solopreneurs and you are on the contract yourself as an FTE, meaning you have been awarded a contract and you are actually performing that contract as a staff member or something like that. Let's just say that you're there. You're already working on a contract. You are one of the elite, right? Here's how you can expand that. So hopefully by now, if you want a contract, you might have a relationship with the buyer and or the contracting officer. So this is a very, very special relationship. Someone trusted you to execute this contract. The government does not play about their money, okay? You have to ensure that you're doing a great job first, right? If the contract's going terribly wrong, then maybe you might want to consider not doing this. But I mean, hey, I'm like, you need to tell me no. I always go for the gusto. I'm a rebel. I go for the moon and the stars if I know I can do it. So if the contract's going pretty well and you feel confident in your relationship with the buyer and or the contracting officer, then this is a couple of things that you can do. So number one, you want to make sure that the buyer is sold on what you do. Now, who is the buyer, Sheena? The buyer is a person that you probably work with daily or weekly or more often than the contracting officer. The contracting officer is a person who pretty much say, yes, this company is compliant. They're registered in this portal, whatever. Here's the money budget for this contract or this person. And then, you know, they may have a pretty decent relationship with you, but they may not live in that same state. If it's a federal contract, they may not be around after the contract is executed. They've done their job. They found the company that's compliant and they said, hey, buyer, whoever you are, this is how much money you have to work with for a year, 5 years, right? But the buyer is the person that you're going to communicate with probably the most. Let me give an example. So when we won our fire station contract where it was 8 fire stations and we had to replace the flooring, we talked to the fire chief. Who knew, right? But they're the ones that had the complaint. Then they went to the contracting officer for that. It was a county contract. They went to the county contracting officer and stated, we need new flooring. That contracting officer said, hey, this is how much money we have and we can only do 8 out of the 20. Great. The buyer is still the fire chief that says, yes, this company knows how to replace the floors. Everything they're saying, even if the fire chief is not too familiar with any type of flooring, but they like us or they get the warm and fuzzy, or maybe we're the only ones showed up. In our case, we're the only ones that showed up. Amen. So we won that contract. But the good thing about having a relationship with the buyer is that the buyer probably has other things that they need. Now, there's going to be different, and I'm always using construction and facilities because that's what we do, but just pick your own industry, right? And that buyer probably has many other things that they need fixed, that they need to purchase, that they need to whatever. If they really like you and they see that your capacity can handle it, chances are they're going to want to do more business with you. And of course, that's what happened with us. We ended up doing some other type of flooring and carpet and floor waxing and all that kind of stuff built on this one contract. So they pretty much did like a sole source type contract where it didn't need to go out for bid. So that's one thing you got to kind of be careful with. Every single county or city, state is going to have like a budget, like a simple acquisition like budget where they can spend up to, depending on the department or the agency within the agency, they may be only able to spend $25,000, which $25,000 is great because they might say, well, we're going to do multiple $25,000 contracts. Let's say that the flooring that we did for one building was $25,000. So they don't have to put it out for bid. They can just give you the contract 25 because it's $24,999, and then you do that multiple times for these other locations. That's how you're able to expand on your contract, because if it goes out for bid, a lot of times, it'll be challenging for it to be justified to go to you. It could still happen, but it might be challenging for it to be justified to go out to you when it has to go out for bid. That's why if you've ever been on a contract where it's considered an IDIQ, which is an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, that means that they could have the budget for $1 million, but they just chip away at that at different projects associated with that particular contract. So that's a topic for another day. But basically, if it's something like that, then you might be their preferred person, and so you're able to work off of that IDIQ, which may still have multiple vendors in it, but then they like you the most. So that's an easy way for contractors contractors to kind of have a little more flexibility, but then if they really like you, you might get the whole million for that IDIQ, where they give you all the work associated with that IDIQ, any projects that they need, or they can use multiple vendors under that particular type of contracting, because there's multiple types of contracting. I don't want to get too deep in this video, but basically how you're able to expand on the contract that you already have is making sure that you communicate, being pleasant to a degree with the buyer, because being unpleasant will definitely bite you in the butt. And it's happened to me, it's happened to several friends, because whatever happened with that contract can make you want to be unpleasant, because people try to, not play fair in the market where they're trying to make you do more than what the contract says. And there's going to be some flexibility there. I gave the example before about pressure washing, where if they're asking, can you just pressure wash this? It's not a part of the contract, but can you just pressure wash this little piece of curb that's like, a yard long, 3 feet long? And I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that needs to be a change order, because that's just a quick little thing. But if you're talking about, hey, we only put in the dollar amount for 3 sides of the building to be pressure washed, but we didn't put for the front. Can you guys do the front? And the front is massive. That might be something that you like, no, we have to do a change order. So that can be a sticky situation that makes it not so great relationship with a buyer or with the person that you're working with, whatever it is, the contracting specialist, contracting whoever. It doesn't have to be the contracting officer. It's the person who's actually needing the work done. So just make sure that's clear in your mind that there's multiple layers to some of these contracts. So if you're able to offer them like, hey, I see that you guys need pressure washing, but you're there for a janitorial contract, then they might say, you know what, give me a price to pressure wash just a small area. And then boom, now you've expanded your work within that agency. So just couple of quick tips on how to expand that. If you are like a solo contractor where you are working your contract as the individual on the contract, that usually happens in like intelligence and information technology. Another way to expound on that is getting another FTE, which is a full-time employee. You might tell the buyer, hey, it would be great if we can bring in, I do the project management, but it'd be great if we can bring in a part-time capture manager. So then you bring in a part-time capture manager and you charge the government, let's say $120,000 for this part-time capture manager. That's a lot of money, but capture managers make a lot of money. But then you pay the contract manager $80,000. So you've made $40,000 on top of that, and you're working your own contract, so you're just making the extra money. And you probably don't have a whole lot of overhead if it's just you and one other employee. So that's a good way to, you're like inviting other services to the buyer, which expounds on your contract. So that's the long and the short of it. I hope that was a good explanation, because it can get a little too deep and I didn't want to go too deep in this video. But if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments, because I will answer them. And then maybe do a part 2 of this video. So y'all just let me know if you need a part 2 and what the part 2 needs to be about. If I need to expound or go into a specific industry to break that down, just let me know. We have our subscription service, GovConNOW subscriptions, where we have 3 tiers, and it's helping you write out your proposals. The 3 tiers are giving you the opportunities and you go and do them yourself. We design opportunities for you, or we do everything for you. Those are the 3 different tiers: GovCon Essentials, GovCon Pro, and GovCon Agency Suite. And of course, I have my GovConNOW course where I teach you about federal, local government, and corporate contracts. And I have a lot of stuff in there for my veterans, hundreds of students. So we just be doing our thing and winning contracts and getting this GovCon money. So again, everything will be in the description box of all the things I just mentioned. And please leave a comment sharing your story. We want to make sure we all know we live in the same life, that we all go through the same struggles. You are not alone. If you're a business owner and you're dealing with any kind of stress or any kind of issues, trust me, you are not alone. Okay. So sometimes you just need to vent it out. Vent it out in the comments. Vent it out in the comments. I want to hear what you have to say. So until next time, it's your favorite veteran.